The Galactic Republic was the central power of government in the Star Wars galaxy for over 1,000 years. Its core fundamental principles were holding up the ideals of democracy and giving a voice to all the people it ruled. But despite these ideals being proclaimed by the Republic, it never got anywhere near close to actually putting them into practice with how it was structured. And that had to do with how the Senate itself was organized, which despite claiming to be a representative body of government for the people, it was instead made up of senators and representatives that came from worlds that practiced absolute monarchy, contained birth-based caste systems, literal dictatorships, and in its twilight years, even corporations. Planets like Mon Cala, Alderaan, Thustra, and Toydaria had monarchies based on bloodlines and familial ties, which obviously were far from democratic. Even planets like Naboo and Kashyyyk, which had elected monarchies, those elections tended to only be from members of noble families and houses, with the common people having little to no say on who their ruler should be. Then there were planets like Scipio, the homeworld of the moons, which had caste systems in place, where only specially talented people were allowed to rise in society, while the rest were treated as second-class citizens. Dictatorships were also surprisingly common within the Galactic Republic, as seen on planets like Hybrin and Galadran, which were supported by the Senate, with their willingness to even send the Jedi as enforcers for the dictators when they began losing control of their territories prior to the outbreak of the Clone Wars. And then, of course, we have the corporations themselves, which were added into the Senate in the Republic's final years, giving these private companies the same power as whole planets. This isn't to say the entire Senate of the Republic was made up entirely by these monarchies and corporations, as there were planets like Chandrila that did genuinely practice democracy and allowed the common people to participate in government. But these types of planets don't seem to make up the majority of the Senate. Nor is this to say the Republic itself was particularly bad, as it did provide many services and planetary aid to planets that were in need. However, it does provide a genuine reason why so many planets came to have separatist sentiments, especially on worlds where the people felt their rulers were being unjust, or were not doing enough to fix their problems that were being ignored by the Republic itself. Problems that were ignored were simply not made aware of by the Senate because it was filled with so many senators that represented the stated monarchies and corporations rather than the common people. It's also not really surprising how most of these very same senators came to vote for a dictatorship with the eventual formation of the Galactic Empire. Seeing how many of them came from planets that didn't actually practice democracy themselves, them voting for a government that stopped pretending to do so was only natural.